Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. We have a blockbuster match to get into for Madison Keys versus Elena Rybakina. Really interesting match to break down. Two exciting players, two big hitting players. So this will be an entertaining watch. Before we do get into it though, remember to that like button, do subscribe if you're new, and do leave a rating or review if you're listening on a podcast platform. Yeah, as I mentioned, this is an exciting one, and this could potentially just be who is able to out-hit the other the most effectively, a bit of a shootout. And I think in a lot of ways it will be, but there is probably a bit more nuance to it than that. The head-to-head is 3-2 in favour of Madison Keys. The last time they played was at the Australian Open this year, where Madison Keys, of course, went on to win the title, and they played in the fourth round. Keys won 6-3, 1-6, 6-3. Rybakina played some phenomenal tennis in the second set, and Keys played some phenomenal tennis in the first and third sets. They then played in Miami last year. Rybakina won straight sets. 2022 was the time before that. Rybakina won in 3 sets on hardcourt, and then Keys won on hardcourt in Cincinnati in 2022, so that's a while ago. Then they also played at Roland Garros in 2022, and Keys won in 3. So on hardcourts, they're technically 2-all. Before we get into the strategy and tactics, let's talk about who they've played so far. So Keys played Ivelisse in her first match, and actually saved match points in that one. 1-6-1, 3-6, and 1-1-6, 6-3, 7-6. Then played Ao Ito and beat her 6-4, 6-love. For Rybakina, she's had to come through in 3 sets against both players that she's had to face so far. 4-6, 6-love, 7-5 against Zarazua, so tie one there. And then another 7-5 third set against Mertens, 1-4, 6-3, 7-5. So she's lost the first set in both her matches 6-4, and then had to come from behind to win. Maybe not playing her best tennis, and she's got Vukov back in the corner. 10 double faults in her last match, but 11 aces, 14 in her first, and 7 aces. Sorry, 14 aces and 7 double faults in her first round match. Only 49% of first serves made in that one. Yeah, this is an interesting one because Keys is... It's difficult. Keys is not playing as well as she did at the Australian Open, in my opinion. And Rybakina is arguably not playing her best tennis either. But I think they're going to get the best out of each other in this matchup. And I think what's going to be really key is, I think, the serve and return dynamic, because both players are going to attack the second serves of each other. So it's going to be a question of who can make the most, not just the most first serves, because dropping it in, well, neither player's going to drop it in, but if they don't hit their spots, then it can be in the hitting zone. It can be a lot of pace to use on return. So I think it's going to be who can make the most amount of first serves, the most amount of effective first serves into play. That's going to be the real key, I think, in this match, or a real key. From the back of the court, both players possess firepower on both wings. And what I did notice is that Rybakina made Keys actually run more in that Australian Open match. She was really moving her around with angles, and because she's got a shorter backswing as well, she can hug the baseline a bit better, I think, than Keys. Keys was having to make up a lot more ground because she's got quite long levers and a big take back, especially on the forehand wing. But she redlined, her forehand line is just ridiculously good when it's on fire. She had to work hard though in the Australian Open match, and I just wonder whether, you know, who's going to be able to utilize the angles the most and exploit the other's movement, because I think Keys moves a bit better than Rybakina from what I've seen, but neither player is an elite mover. And I think, you know, Rybakina has to be quite clever about how she moves Keys around. And similarly, Keys, what she did really well in that Australian Open match was actually drag Rybakina out and then open up the court to then go hard into the open space, which was normally a winner. And we will see some slice from both players when they're on the stretch and feeling like they are on the back foot. We saw that a fair bit from Keys, and it was relatively effective because Rybakina would then go forehand cross and if the forehand cross wasn't deep enough, Keys would then latch onto it with a forehand line, and it would more often than not be a winner or a forced error. So I think Rybakina needs to be she needs to be quite smart in how she utilizes the forehand cross. She either needs to go, if she's going to go cross court, it has to be with a lot of depth, or if she's going to go shorter, it needs to be an angle to drag Keys out. Or it's not a bad shout to actually go hard and deep down the middle, because I actually feel that for Rybakina, that's not a bad option. Let me know in the comment section below what you think and why. I'm going to go Rybakina in 3 sets. That's my pick. Thank you very much, guys. Stay safe and we'll see you in the next video.